Hello, everybody. It's Michelle here with Angel Souls, and this is our weekly angelic message. Now, before we hop in here, I do want to draw your attention to gumroad.com/angelsouls. I did put up a whole new video about angelic souls, a paradigm shift, and how AI is playing into channeling and mediumship. So get on over there and check it out. And also angelsouls444.com if you would like to get a standard reading with me. Always check my posts, my community page, because sometimes I put a code up there. You can go check that out, see if you can get a certain percentage off. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off, but go check it out. If you want to try to get a live reading with me, what do? We email me. That's right. Email me at angelsouls444@gmail.com. Too many things. All right. And when you email, let me know what country you're in, how much time you're looking for, and what times may work for you. Now, as we get into this week got away from me. It's just been a busy week, and I still feel like I don't have everything done. But for this week, I am not going to be breaking it down by sign. Why? One, I ran out of time. Two, those videos are not getting any more views than these standard overall readings. I can't explain it to you. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know. All right. So let's get into it for this week and see what we need to know, what is coming up for us. And as I always say, time is not linear with the angels. So this could be a little bit before this week, a little bit after, for whenever you come across it. And if you rewatch these later on, no matter where you are in your life, something will be popping up as a message for you. All right. I'm seeing those ugly dolls in my head. Now you might be like, which ones? These are the ones that went viral on the clock app, if you know what I'm talking about. Such a weird image. Let's see if that has any correlation. Okay, so it looked like a little bit of a goblin. And we have, pardon me, the Knight of Michael. So this is being stressed about something. If you're in the United States, the tax deadline is fast approaching. It says your worry is unnecessary. Focus your thoughts on the outcome you desire. Release feelings of regret, guilt, or worry to your angels. Now, there are a lot of worries out there about a lot of different areas of our lives. But this just feels like this overall gloom, and it just feels like I'm hearing them say impending doom. A lot of humans have this sense of impending doom, and yet this is really what's going on. Now, in part of this, this worry might be coming from all the messages coming at you, okay? So this could be the news, it could be work, it could be, news you get from a love partner. Now, sometimes people will see this card as having a lot of romantic possibilities. Okay, I mean, we can read into anything, can't we? Yes, so this card says a great deal of activity, sudden and immediate results, important communication. But I also want to say, like, there could have been some sort of announcement, information, something like that came through that kind of gives you pause, that makes you stop and go, now, hang on. Like, what does that mean? Where are we going with this? Okay, so let's get more of the story here. It's going to turn out really nicely. It's going to turn out really nicely. So you might be worried about something occurring, or worrying about some news that came in, like how is this going to affect my life? What area, depends on who you are and what you got going on. And it ends up being something that is paving the way for something incredibly good to come on in. You know what I mean? So if one thing's going away, it's for good reason. Make a wish, dreams become reality, a joyful time of life. So you might actually find that if you let's say you get shoved into a different position at work, and you might be going, I have no idea what to do with this. Like, huh? And then you get into it and you realize you really do enjoy it. And maybe you meet some really great people that you had no idea about. And, you find that you have more sense of purpose coming into your work. You see what I'm saying? So that's quite nice. Let's get more. More. All right. 3 of Ariel. Do what you love. A time of great personal growth in your career or artistic endeavors, working with others in a cooperative manner. I really do think that this is like a turn when it comes to work. We have the Ariel presence here. So Ariel is about material manifestation, usually associated with anything root chakra related. So money and opportunity, but it seems to come in after a lot of struggle. So for some of you out there who are struggling to find a new job, let's say, and let's say you've been really worried because you've been unemployed for a very, very, very long time, that for some of you, if that pertains to you, it could be a sudden bunch of opportunities coming at you and they're all wanting your attention, and you realize, yeah, this is wonderful. It's like uplifting. Okay. And then the decision becomes, what do I want to study? And this isn't really the studying card, but this is more of like, think about training. I'm going to see what the potentials are. I'm watching how other people react in this situation. And then, you proceed in the way that is right for you. So I'm hearing be on the lookout. Be on the lookout, because some of us are getting in such a stressed place because let's admit it, there are pressures coming from every which way. I should actually make this response video on the Clock app, because over there was a woman who was an executive. I guess she's an executive. She didn't look like an executive, but whatever. She got on there and said, how are we supposed to find workers? Talking about Gen Z and millennials, that they don't want to work. And how do you get them to work with urgency? And I heard that, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, it's right in our faces. It's right in our face. With urgency? You mean you want everyone running around and you want to stand back and watch everybody run around and be stressed out? I could go on and on about that, but not even thinking about what they're saying. That these are very, very, very different times. And what you once could work for, that wage could get you a house. You would have a car. You would even be able to put some money aside for savings for your kids' college. Now, that doesn't go as far as it used to. And younger people are being made to feel guilty for that. Now, I would be considered a Zennial. I've heard people say Zennial. Where are you getting that from? It's Zennial, okay? Like millennial. Gen X and millennials. Zennials. So I guess, or like really old millennial, really young Gen Xer. And I can tell you, I'm experiencing the same thing. It's like you work, and you barely make ends meet. So, and you're living as frugally as you can, or, I found a very cheap place to live. So like, my car's paid off. Like I'm doing everything that I can, but not getting ahead. So you see that mentality there. I feel I'm giving that example because that mentality of this person who said, why don't you work with urgency and want to work hard and prove yourself? I don't remember exactly what the wording was, but the sentiment is what stuck with me. And it's not a fair sentiment to be putting out there. Okay. It's just not a fair sentiment to put out there. So what I think is going on here is that whoever's watching this, you're having this realization around this and going, you know what? No, I'm not going to give up my life. I'm not going to stress myself till I have an illness. I'm not going to show up and go through the motions for someone else's success so that I get very little in the end, but at least I prove myself as like a worthy worker. Like as if your whole sense of self-worth is attached to the identity of being a good worker. I hope that makes sense. I'm just kind of giving it as it's coming up. So what that's going to do is it's going to have you breaking away and turning towards something that maybe you really wouldn't have considered otherwise. Yeah, peace. Here's the card of transformation. So a lot of you are trying to transform out of this situation. I'm giving the example of a work-related situation. We have the Ariel presence here, the Archangel Ariel coming in. So that's why I say that for most of you. But for others of you, the second strongest frequency that's coming through is having this dynamic with family. Maybe feeling very alone, I'm unsupported, my family isn't there for me. And then maybe you start to meet some people who become like your chosen family, or you find your community, or you find out where you fit in. Whatever it is, there's something that you wake up to. You might be angry about it because you're going, okay, I can't believe you just said that. And I can't believe that I've just listened to that without speaking up before. And now you're speaking up, and it triggers this massive transformation. Okay, so this could be, leave your comments about what's happening for you. It's going to be very interesting. So the number is 13. We make that a 4. Your guardian angels are trying to guide you towards, there's like an opening happening, but it doesn't feel right to you because it's not how you intellectually would have imagined your life going. And yet, the path you have always tried to go down is not working, right? So it's going to feel a little off, and you may not know what to do with it. So this is Archangel Azrael. The card is peace. Release the past. There is a more enriching future coming. Let go and let God. So again, depending on who you are, there could be some sort of exiting. Again, that could be with a job. I think for most of you, it's work, or it's the end of struggle. It's the end of struggling financially. You're finding your way, getting into a collaborative spirit with other people who are going through the same thing. Yeah, finding solutions together. But in the midst, I'm just looking at all this. In the midst of it, you do have this 9 of Raphael. And something is also incredibly healing. You're exploring some opportunities that, like I said, that you would not have thought of before. It might take a little bit of learning, a little bit of training, a little bit of support from others. But you leave that worry behind. I feel like peace is saying, it says release the past. Well, I think the past is the 9 of Michael up here at the top. That's what you're leaving behind. You're going, you know what? It's not worth worrying about. Or have you been in a space where, good old personality disorders. What are you going to do? Okay, now I got this hair going across my face and I can't find it. Okay, a bunch of hair just fell out. Great. Awesome. We're doing wonderful here. But if you've ever been in a space where your energy is nice and calm, you've done your spiritual work, you've attuned your energy field, you're in alignment, and maybe you're still facing a really tough situation, but you're going to make sure that you're transmuting that and not taking it out on others. And then you come into a space, maybe it is a workspace, or maybe it's just out in public in general, or into your family or what have you. And people just are cruel to you and rude to you just because they want to tear you down. And when you don't give in to that, you're not indulging them, they do it even more. Because all they want, remember, the brighter your light, the more people are going to swat at you and try to turn the light off. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like, you were in a deep, deep sleep and then somebody just turned on a really bright light. They're going to come out swinging. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think too, darkness is on overtime, trying to really stop the light from shining out, and from people actually being happy and, obviously take accountability for our lives and all that good stuff. But, but I think this is your time to really realize I've put so much importance into things that never cared about me, didn't have my best interest at heart, was never going to happen. And for some of you, you might see it as, well, it's time for me to grow up. I'm not going to be an opera star. It's time for me to move on from that and to find something that I can truly connect with and that feels good, that I don't have to sell my soul for. See, this is why a lot of people who are creative types, you'll have the unpublished books. You'll be the one who sings behind the scenes instead of out on the stage. I'm blanking on her name. The woman who actually sang Never Enough in The Greatest Show on Earth. Is that what it is? I think her first name is Lauren. And if I remember her story correctly, I think she was kind of the type to be singing behind the scenes. So doing the voiceover singing for a character in a movie. And then she finally decided to come out on stage and let people see her. And she's so beautiful and she's just incredibly talented. And of all the people who should be seen and have her, and she has a good soul light. You can tell. So, of all the people who should be exuding that soul light, she's the one. But they end up being behind the scenes. Why? Because there's always a price to pay for that fame. We know that. So don't beat yourself up if you're a creative person that hasn't, quote unquote, made it. You've made it in God's eyes. You didn't even have to do that. God always loved you and always will. You don't have to prove yourself. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for all of you. Again, angelsouls444.com if you want to get a personal reading with me. Always check Facebook, Instagram, and the YouTube community page. When I have a flash sale on standard readings, I don't typically do a sale on live readings. Okay, but if I'm going to have a code up for the standard readings, it would be there. Reason I don't put live readings on sale, they can be more draining depending on the person. So, yeah. And you're probably like, why are you saying that? Why wouldn't I? What's wrong with being honest? I have some beautiful clients who come in and they make it worth everything. But some others come in and they're still very deeply asleep. They're deeply controlling. They're trying to get me as a medium. They're trying to control me and manipulate me to get some sort of gain. Does that make sense? Kind of coming in and here, I laid my money down. Now tell me the winning lotto numbers. Or here, I paid you. So now I can feel like I'm in control of somebody. And I'll show up when I want to and I'll end the session when I want to. Yeah, those people exist. Okay. And there are a lot of spiritual practitioners out there who will give you a lot of BS of well, that's what you attract in. We're all on our soul's path. And we all have chapters and we have things that we need to learn. And diminishing that, I think that's a not very spiritual thing to do. So just keep that in mind, okay? But again, that's the information. If you do want a live session, email me at angelsouls444@gmail.com. And then I have that course over. Well, it's not really a course. It's more of just a video information on paradigm shift, angelic souls, and how AI is playing into spirituality. So go check it out. We're going to end it there. I am sending you all so much love and take care.